looks like Daryl and Carol both learned a lot about each other in this episode of The Walking Dead. Welcome back, everyone. This is Jason. Uh, this is going to be my review of The Walking Dead Season 5, Episode 6, Consumed. Um, heard some people call this episode the Daryl and Carol Power Hour. It certainly was. We saw a lot of things happen in this episode between the two. Um, there was a lot of little flashbacks that they showed from Carol. Um, I almost kind of wish they did the same thing for Daryl, but um, it was it was still cool because you got to see. Well, it was kind of hard to tell, but you got to see where Carol's head was at right now, and that was the reason for the flashbacks. You got to see, how far she's come mentally, and then it was explained, later on in the episode, how she wasn't able to be the person she wanted to be when she was married to, was it Ed? I think her husband's name was Ed. And the reason she was so frustrated and wanted to leave, well, obviously she was upset when she was exiled from Rick, and it showed that the first part of the episode when she left or was forced to leave. So she had that probably had that pain in her stomach again, like, oh, I'm with another Ed, who's not letting me be the person, that she wanted to be. She wanted to save people at the prison. I mean, okay, uh, a little controversial way of saving people, but nonetheless, she was trying to do good by taking out, was it Karen and whoever was the other sick individual back at the prison. Um, so we saw her evolve from, you know, where her head was at the prison, where her head was at Terminus, and the episode was called Consumed, and they kept showing these flashbacks to smoke and fire, and then what was really kind of cool was when it all kind of came together in a sense emotionally for both her and Daryl. Um, when they were at the women's shelter, and there was um, the walkers outside the door just when they were settling in, and she wanted to go kill him, and he, told her, no, you don't have to, and just because obviously he could tell there's a lot of emotions rattling around in her head just from being back at that place. I mean, yeah, it was cool that they found that place, but to have such an emotional dark cloud over that place and what it meant from her past. Um, and Daryl saw that, and you know, and then to have to kill someone or walkers for even for that matter at a place like that that's supposed to be a safe haven for mothers, children, whatever. Um, and he saw that, and he was like, "No, you don't have to do this." And so, in a sense, when she went to sleep that night, she finally had that. I'm guessing almost like a peace, like a peace of mind. Um, and she woke up, and Daryl had taken care of the walkers, wrapped them up, was taking them outside to burn them, and I think those burning and then the smoke rising was like, how do you say it? It was like the emotional conclusion of all those, or culmination of all those feelings, that have been going on inside of her. I mean, obviously, she's still changing as a person, and Daryl's changing too. You think back to how Daryl was in that first season. If you forget it, I was, with when they were showing the episodes leading up to the season, and they were showing those first few episodes from season one, and and how Daryl was. Oh my God, he was like this punk ass kid, redneck, and now he's so different. I mean, he's still that tough redneck, but he's so different now. Um, and like Carol said in the episode, you were a boy, now you're a man. Um, so it was really cool to finally see, um, you know, these two back together, um, and really learning from each other. That's the main thing they did in this episode is, they learned from each other. They they grew as people. They really did. Um, and so yeah, they had to find. They're trying to find Beth, and what was really interesting was um, that scene where they're driving at night and they're following the car, the cross in the back, and driving into Atlanta, back on that basically what looks like that same road that we saw Rick, when he rode his horse into Atlanta. It looked like that same road, only it was nighttime, so it was kind of hard to tell, but it had that same look to it. So that was kind of interesting. It's like going back to where it all started. Um, that was cool, and just knowing. I mean, I'd be like, "What? Go back to Atlanta? Screw that!" I'd be honest. I mean, just knowing what was back there and how dangerous it was. I mean, you think of the hordes that have come out of that city because they were attracted to like the helicopter or following Rick or whatever, um, or right at the beginning of season two, we've seen how dangerous Atlanta is. So to go back for Beth, man, that's 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 crazy, but that's brave. That's really freaking brave for these two to go back there and do that. And then of course they run into Noah, and and even with everything they go through with Noah, going from getting robbed from him to the end of the episode where um, they get their weapons back and they're ready to leave him, and then when he first robs them, Daryl's like, no, you can't kill him, he's just a kid. And then when they catch up to him the second time, she reminds him what he just said. So there it goes right back to that, learning from each other. And it was cool. It was fun. It was funny. It was dangerous. It was exciting. Um, and yeah, and then they're trying to get out of the building, and we finally see. It's like somewhere in this episode, you're gonna find out how Carol gets on that gurney in the hospital with Beth, and then all of a sudden she's running out, and bam, it happens, and then it's like it all comes together right in that split second, um, and the look on Daryl's face. Oh man, um, you know, it's so intense, and Noah's holding him back because Daryl for the second time this season basically has that same feeling again. Well, um, the first time was last season actually when he lost Beth, but you know he's going through that feeling again. It's like, oh, I know I lost someone. That helpless feeling, and he's like all emotional. You can tell he's on the verge of tears. Like, oh no, now she's gone, and now I gotta get Beth and Carol, and then um, as they're leaving Atlanta, just the look on Daryl's face. he's like, okay, that's it. We need to get out of Atlanta. We need backup. And, to trust Noah that, hey, okay, they've got her, but they'll help her. You're hoping and praying they do. But like I said, the look on Daryl's face as they're driving out of Atlanta, and then the look, then they pan over to, Noah, and he's looking at the road, and he's looking at Daryl, and he's looking at the road, and he's looking at Daryl, and he's like, what the hell have I gotten myself into? It's like, I just robbed these guys. Now I'm helping them. Oh man, what a crazy ride. And I know there's going to be a lot of people say, oh, this episode was boring. It's like, okay, I've said it once, I'll say it a million times, guys. Character development. If you had, you know, all episodes, all zombies, slashing and killing, okay, the season would have lasted 2 seasons at best and been done. That'd have been boring. So, you need episodes like this, because fans want to know. You know, fans are invested in these characters. Um, they want to know, what makes them tick, what's going on in their head, and you know, I was listening to another review, and I'm going to say this too. Um, you're starting to have that feeling like this was maybe Carol's episode, and you're wondering because now she's in the hospital with Beth. Um, how much longer does she have on this show? Because they did the same thing with Herschel, where Herschel had his big strong episode, and then we said goodbye to him. So yeah, you got to wonder if Carol's going to be gone soon. Is she going to make it out of that hospital? Yeah, you hope she does, but we got 2 episodes left to the mid-season finale, and you got to guess something big is going to happen. We might lose some characters. We'll see. But obviously now, you know, Daryl's going to get the group together to go back to Atlanta. Um, so yeah, going to round everyone up. And from the looks of the preview, I watched it back a couple times to see who's all going. It looks like it's going to be Rick, Daryl, um, Tyrese, and Sasha. I think those four or five, something like that. I'd have to go back and look at it again. But yeah, man, it's it's gonna be sheriff versus the cops. In the season finale, it's gonna be pretty cool. Um, Rick versus Dawn. That bitch. Yeah. So yeah, I did like this episode. It did seem like it was a little slow, but it was cool to see uh, Daryl and Carol together going into Atlanta. The suspense, going around. They were pretty slick avoiding all the walkers too. That was badass. Oh, and the trip off the bridge. Oh my god. um, yeah, that was nuts. Um, yeah, you gotta wonder. Um, from watching the Talking Dead episode after with CM Punk. What would you have done? Would you have tried to fight your way through them, or would you have gone over in the van? And then risk getting splattered by several walkers on the way down. Man, yeah. Um, I think I would have done the van too. Maybe. So yeah, put in comments. Let me know what you thought. I thought it was a good episode. At least we know now how Carol got in the hospital with Beth, and we know she's not faking it. She got, you know, she, Dawn did a hit and run. Oh man, horrible. So yeah, great episode. That's my review. Tell me what you thought in the comments if you want. Give it a thumbs up if you dug it. And that's about it for this one. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you soon for the next one.